Okay, so tonight's gonna be an interesting night. I am enjoying the weather. It's actually quite beautiful out. So, we're here to talk about something very serious. Charlie Kirk. Now, this is an interesting point in American history. Now, a lot of people seem to get the idea that I must be some kind of right-wing freak. Well, let me set the record straight for all of you. I am not right. I am not left. I am not here to play your partisan games. No. I am here as my own force. I am here as a force of nature. And that means I'm not going to play by your rules. Now, that being said, killing a man for politically disagreeing with you is not acceptable. And I don't care if the shooter was right or left. I really don't. That is unacceptable behavior. And we as the children of empire should know better. We are not the barbarians at the gates. We are not the hell waiting. We are Americans. We are the children of Rome. We are Rome reborn. And the fact that we are gonna go and we are gonna shoot each other and we are gonna tear each other apart because we can't agree on commonalities, that is a problem. Now, one of the big things that we need to keep in mind is we're all one people. Why are we gonna go and shoot each other? One second. Because I'm getting some interesting... it's saying my stream is fine. Okay. We are the children of Rome. We are sons of the capital wolf. And the more we continue to bicker, the more we continue to hurl lead at each other, when words will do just fine, the more we continue to speak about threats to democracy, the more we're gonna destroy it. This republic is dead. That much is certain. Res publica cadit et imperium surgit. Now, we can talk about civil war all day. There is a whole hit list of figures on the right and on the left, but it almost seems like the right has been targeted the most. Either way, there's a whole list of people who have been shot at or will be shot at, and it's not acceptable. Just because you, and I'm referring to the media here, want to talk about people being threats all day long, want to equate them to threats, want to call them Nazis, fascists, bigoted, and you're going to tell people it's okay to shoot them, and then cry wolf when someone actually carries it out and shoots them? Well, you've been telling them they're a threat for the last 5 years, so of course they're gonna start taking up arms and shooting them. This is not acceptable behavior, and this is not acceptable behavior coming from our establishment. The people we're supposed to look up to are the ones that are instead setting the worst example. And what's next? They're gonna say Nick Freitas is a threat to democracy and try to take him out? No. 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 That's not happening. You don't get to come and shoot at people because you don't like what they're saying. That's not how this country works. That's not how the rule of law works. You don't like what they're saying? Fine. File a lawsuit. Go in front of a judge and get laughed out of the room. But no, you're gonna load up your gun. You're gonna abuse your Second Amendment right to take away someone else's right to life. And then you're gonna act shocked when that faction sees that you drew blood and now they want blood? I'm gonna make something very clear here. Emeo-apocalypses. This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable behavior. And the worst part is, I made a short form post on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, and I get attacked for condemning the violence. And the thing is, I don't even care. Attack me all day. You're not hurting me. If anything, you're just feeding the algorithm. But besides the point, the fact that you feel the need to attack someone for condemning violence, which, realistically, everyone should be condemning violence. Violence is not acceptable. But you're gonna attack me? You're gonna call Charlie Kirk a, quote, groper, which we all know is just projection, so you can justify taking them out with a bullet? You're gonna go out of your way to plan to go kill somebody because you can't debate their ideas on their face. And then you're gonna attack the guy on the internet who calls you out for it without apology. And here's the thing. If you're offended, good. Because I'm not here to coddle your feelings. I'm here to tell you how this shit is and what we're gonna do about it as a nation together. Because until we stand together, our republic will continue to rot from underneath while each faction wants to tear each other apart. That's not how you get national cohesion. That's how you get 476 and 453. 1453. That's how you get Adrianople. That's how you get Karhai. That's how you get to a point where the Republic is so broken that you have a man taking Legio Gemina across the Rubicon to reassert order after it is lost. And here's the thing. Well, you guys are trying to rip each other apart, trying to kill each other, trying to claw each other's throats out, trying to traumatize each other's family. The same problems still stand. We have crippling national debt. Last I checked, it was almost $37 trillion and still climbing. We have decaying infrastructure. Half of our bridges aren't even safe for the cars that drive on them. We're so entangled in foreign wars and foreign contracts. Hell, the Israel lobby controls our country. I'm not going to take a position on Israel one way or the other. But I will make it known that a foreign lobby controlling the way we legislate is not acceptable. And here I am, the one actually speaking it as it is, and I won't sugarcoat. We are at a grave time in American history. Our republic is already dead. That much is certain. The question is, will the imperium that rises after it be righteous and lawful? Will it be constitutional? Will Caesar embody the Constitution? Will Caesar embody the oath to protect his people? That is our question, and that is our national oath. We will, while you guys are plotting, right and left both, while you guys are plotting to destroy each other, some of us will be building. Some of us will build what comes after the rot and the war zones that you created. The left, to the left, you guys are absolutely unhinged. You are unhinged and you are evil and you are soulless. To the right, you guys are not much better. You guys are reactionary. You guys are stuck in your own ways. You guys don't have any vision for the future. You want to bring America back to where we were in 1960. But that's not going to happen. We are not living in 1960. We are living in 2025. And the fact that you guys on the right don't realize that our only way out of this is forward is honestly saddening. Both of you sicken me. Both the left and the right. You guys are the collapse. Imio Augustos Vasilias ton Romayon. Sumus fili lupai capitolinai. We're not gonna get anywhere by trying to kill each other. We're not gonna fix our potholes. We're not gonna make the trains run on time. We're not even gonna fix our debt if all we can do is sling lead at each other. And it is sad that our country, our beautiful country, is ripping itself apart at the seams because no one can seem to get along and actually focus on the necessary reforms that we need to make America great. Make America great again. And not only will we make America great again, but Rome will rise out of the ashes. Roma resurgit. Roma resurgit in America. That is what's on the table. Civilization will be reborn. But as far as when I turn on the news, because I don't even watch the news anymore, because I can't. Whenever I do turn on the news, all I see is barbarians tearing each other apart. There's no civilization. Guys are all barbarians. And the fact that no one realizes the discipline, no one understands virtus, no one understands autoritas, that is a problem. That is a huge problem. And until we get some kind of cohesion, and we put our differences aside, and we say, no, federal government, you are the one that's corrupt. You are the problem. We will continue in this downward death spiral, killing each other while the government rots from the inside out from its own contradictions. Only together as a nation can we band together and build our destiny. We are the sons of Troy. We are the sons of Rome. And we will rise again as the children of the capital wolf. One thing I will give credit to, though, is nature. Honestly, it's so serene at night, especially in late August to early September. You still got all the crickets and everything, it's just so serene. Now, this channel was originally Promptoast. Now, ePromptoast, when I created it at 15, it wasn't really sustainable. I essentially ran into the problem where the funding I needed to sustain the channel simply wasn't available. I tried different things. It landed me some success with it, but ultimately my priorities shifted. And over time, I started coming into the political arena, like most young people. But the thing is, I saw through it. I don't want to see my fellow countrymen kill each other. I don't like seeing this rot, this spiritual and moral decay. It actually bothers me. And one of the things that I've realized is that ultimately, the federal government itself is the problem, through and through. There's no getting around it. The federal government was built on pre-agrarian assumptions baked into the Constitution, where wealth was tied to land. Now, that was probably the biggest oversight, and I don't really blame the founders for it, because they couldn't have possibly foreseen the sheer scale of the Industrial Revolution. But what this ended up creating was essentially a mismatch of power. The federal government's political power is too constrained because it honestly diffuses political power too well, and that was by design. But because it has no answer for economic power, what essentially ended up happening was corporations were able to grow to the scale of nation states in terms of economics. And I will say this again and again. Tesla or Apple, pick any big tech company. Individually, they are worth more than the entire GDP of the Roman Empire under the reign of Emperor Hadrian. That should tell you something. And my position is, we shouldn't be trying to seize the means of production. That's not gonna work. Communism has failed on every single continent. But we need to take a serious look at the incentive structures that allow these companies to operate with impunity and be like, how does the government rein these companies in, but still allow enough market freedom that they can benefit from the best of capitalism? Damn mosquitoes. Capitalism is a double-edged sword. I think that's something we can all agree on. On one hand, it allowed for massive amounts of wealth for everyone involved, including us plebeians. On the other hand, without checks on its influence, it has grown into oligarchy. Unchecked capitalism is oligarchy by its very nature. And the more we realize, wait a second, this is a problem, the more we can actually look at cutting down this problem from the root. And it all comes back to some core structural issues. Everything we are dealing with now comes down to a few fundamental core structural issues. And unfortunately, people are not able to see exactly what those issues are. So then they start pedantically fighting each other, and then they'll fight each other, and then they'll fight each other, and then they'll fight each other, and then someone will pick up a gun, and then someone else will pick up a gun, and next thing you got a civil war. It already happened in the 1860s. We don't need it again. And if we do have it again, it won't be like the 1860s. We got fighter jets, we have artillery, we have multiple forms of munitions, we have industrialization. That's gonna be a problem. For those of you who think I'm unhinged, I just want you to know, I welcome that as a compliment. Obviously, the lighting sucks here, it's nighttime. Oh well, deal with it. Filius Troiae Aniae sum. There will be a time, and that time is coming soon, where the populace will say, Aut Caesarat nihil, and they will back it. And when they do, things will not be the same again. That's not always a bad thing, though. Sometimes Caesar is necessary. Sometimes he's the only thing that can break the rot. Sometimes Caesar is the only thing that can break through the gridlock and actually push through meaningful reform that lasts. But then again, one big mistake is that when you go to shoot Caesar, Caesar doesn't die without taking the Republic with him. Brutus would find this out the hard way. And the thing is, once you have Caesar, Caesar is immortalized in the laurel. Caesar becomes Augustus. Augustus becomes Tiberius. Eventually, Augustus becomes Hadrian. Augustus becomes Trajan. Augustus becomes Constantine. We are living out the death of the Republic right now. And unless we start acting like an empire, and we start acting with discipline, potentia, auctoritas, we're gonna have problems. We're gonna have big problems. Ultimately, it's fidelibus to our flag, to our nation, to our people. Now, I have something I've thrown around. Civis Americanus. So Civis Americanus, if we were to translate the Latin literally, it just means American citizen. But in the old Roman sense, which is the correct register we're going to use here, Civis Americanus means anyone can be American so long as you embrace the civic virtue. Now, a Mexican who comes from Mexico, fights in the Marine Corps, serves his 4 years, he's an American. A white boy in Detroit who burns flags while wearing makeup and declaring himself a girl? Not American. Why? Because you ultimately have values that are antithetical to those that built this nation and those that hold social cohesion together. Doesn't matter if you were born here or not. You can be born in America and not be cuis Americanus. I know, radical. Deal with it. I'm gonna check my stream. Usually my streams don't get that much. Usually my streams are either hit or miss. I'm not currently at a point where my stream's gonna draw a lot of videos. Oh, what are my analytics? Boring. Y'all are boring. But then again, I don't expect that much. I'll still go live, of course. I don't care whether anyone watches this or not, but... honestly, Tribune is such more coherent, it's a much better name than ePromptoast. And honestly, it represents... Stay put there, microphone. Stay put. Yes, I'm talking to the microphone. That's not a problem, is it? Well, anyway. Here's to an interesting day. This is ultimately... yes, I wanted to take the time to condemn political violence, but ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, this is actually a pretty low-stakes stream. Side note, if you were to ask me who my least favorite Roman emperor was, who I think permanently destroyed the empire, I would say it was Emperor Justinian. He had a Eastern Roman Empire that was in fairly good shape. He could have focused inward, consolidated his power, reinforced the borders. No, he wanted to reconquer the West. Which, fair enough. But actually, give Belisarius enough legions to do it. No, he didn't. What did he do? He horribly mishandled the Gothic campaigns, sent Belisarius in seriously understaffed, got wrecked by the Persians a couple of times. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head if this was before Muhammad. I know the Byzantines had some huge problems. Had a huge problem once Islam came on the board, because they were just... The thing about that region of the world in post-Islam is Islam was just so coherent. They weren't dealing with barbarians at that point. They were dealing with a rival civilization that gave their troops something worth dying for. And from the Byzantine perspective, the various Islamic powers were quite literally the biggest threat they have ever faced. And there was this weird, and this is more so coming from my own intuition, is that there was this weird tension between Byzantine Rome and the Muslim world at the time, where they both had respect for each other, but were also like, I'm gonna call them frenemies. Byzantium had an interest in containing the threat. Islam had an interest in conquering Byzantium. So, it was a very interesting time period. And eventually Sultan Mehmed II would breach the Theodosian walls and crown himself Kaisari Rum, Caesar of the Romans. Little interesting history there. But there is so much we can learn from Rome, from the Punic Wars, from the early Republic, from the Kingdom even, that if we just listen to our ancestors a little bit, and we listen to our ancestors a little more, we wouldn't be having these problems. But for whatever reason, the West has become so anti-intellectual, that it's unable to even look itself in the mirror and say, maybe we're doing this wrong. Maybe we're doing something wrong. I don't know, sure, Spain may have imported so much gold into the New World that they crashed the gold market. But we'll just keep printing their money. Surely, by printing so much money as the world reserve currency, nothing could possibly go wrong. Oh, and yeah, everyone else is doing it too, so we're fine. No, we're not. No, we're not. Even little things, like, cost $12, buy a bottle of soap to shower? Are you kidding me? Something that simple and that necessary. And the thing is, our entire generation, for anyone watching this who's from Gen Z, our entire generation was robbed. We were robbed by our parents and grandparents. I'm gonna say parents for my case, because my parents are actually baby boomers. And I'm not gonna go out of my way and say every single baby boomer was like this. But then again, your general demographic boomers are the ones who robbed your grandchildren. So, and even something simple like buying a house, getting married, not so simple anymore. The world is more cut for transformation than it is for working within it. And I am someone who looks at this unfolding, and most of my day, when I have free time, is spent strategizing around this. Because I'm not simply gonna just stand by and let it happen, but obviously we need to keep things legal now, don't we? Now, it doesn't mean that I can't be absolutely ruthless with my lawfare. That's perfectly legal. Lawfare is perfectly legal, even if it is, incredibly subversive. But I'm not here to start running at the Capitol with a gun, despite what other people my age might do. No, I'm gonna just write a legal motion, cite some case law, stack a couple of constitutional angles in it, stack some case law, and I'm gonna make an example out of the courts. And that's honestly how revolution should be handled. Not artillery on the Capitol, but just one well-structured legal filing. Or a handful of well-structured legal filings. Because the rule of law here is both America's greatest strength and its Achilles heel. And I've written about this in depth. The Art of Political Warfare is available on Amazon if you want a straightforward strategic guide. Can't really call it a guide though. Do what you want with it. If you just want to have something for your civics class, $4.99 on Kindle or unlimited. Hell, I'll give you the PDF. I really don't care if you buy it or get it for free. Of course, I do appreciate when people buy my work, but I'm not that obsessive over you buying it. I'll pin that in the comments below. But honestly, like, such an interesting world, and we're living in a historic period. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of Gen Z who are going to come across this, and you're probably going to want to attack me in the comments, and that is perfectly on you. I'm not going to play your game, but go ahead. Write your comments. Call me a school shooter all you want in the comments. Everyone does it. Doesn't land because I have no intention of going anywhere near a school. In fact, I wouldn't even send my own kids to school for that very reason. But it's hilarious because I see a lot of people projecting their own insecurities, and they do it behind the cover of Anonymous, and it's just like, really? You couldn't read a book and come back to this comment section to debate me? You had to just go for the ad hominem. Okay, we'll play that game. And usually it works like this. Commenter comes in, insults me, I shrug. I cut them down. Because usually those who have to come in and attack and assault, it says more about them than it does about me. And I'm just gonna put that on full display because I can. It really is what it is. I know the lighting here is very hit or miss. Like, my face is in shadows, but I don't really have another light. One of the biggest losses to me was my ability to edit videos, considering I currently don't have hardware to edit videos, so I have to just kind of wing it live. I already know no one's gonna watch this. Okay. You guys have fun. But I will notice my stream. Honestly, my battery isn't doing that bad either. I'll take it to whether the battery dies or not. My CPU is doing well. I'm actually surprised that that's a thing on this laptop. I have one concurrent viewer. Hello there. Oh, you just went to 0. Okay, fun. One of the interesting things is, I picked up Latin a while ago. Very interesting language. I do actually like the inflection because you can play with word order without a problem. Picked up a little bit of Greek more recently, and that's been going interestingly. So, my approach to language learning. I'm gonna let you guys in on something. It ultimately doesn't matter if you translate back into your native tongue right away. Don't worry about that. Do not worry about that. That's gonna slow you down. It's a time sink. Learn to read the language as the language. So what I did was, I never worried about what does this Latin word mean in English. I just taught myself how to read Latin, and I can read Latin. The language will literally teach itself to you the more you read it. Just learn to read the script, and the more you read it, the more the language will literally teach itself to you. Same thing with Greek. It took me, I'll be honest, and I had a little help with ChatGPT with this as well. It took me 2 days to learn the Greek alphabet. Now, this is just my personal experience. Took me 2 days to learn to read the Greek alphabet, and from there I just went straight into Greek texts. Now, unlike Latin, and this is actually my big problem with Greek, unlike Latin, where most of the source texts are preserved, it is an absolute minefield to actually find anything in Greek that isn't poisoned by woke ideology. Now, this is my experience hunting Greek source material. Like, I've had to go to some really obscure websites to find anything in Greek. And then typically my process, especially when it comes to Greek stuff, is I have to find a PDF from some kind of archive website. And then I have to OCR the PDF and then convert it into an EPUB. And then and only then I can put it on my e-reader. But Greek is tricky because you have a lot of, especially coming into it as a non-speaker, because you have a lot of like really low effort modern takes on classics that will throw you off if you don't know what you're looking for. And like, eventually you'll get used to it. because you'll start to see, well, you'll start to notice certain things. And it is technically still a living language, so you will still find native speakers, you will still find YouTube videos primarily in Greek. You will still find all of that. Latin is a lot easier though. I mean, as a native English speaker, you're gonna have a lot of Latin and Greek already baked into your daily speech. But what makes Latin easier is it's just more straightforward. There aren't 100 different dialects. There's 2. Classical and ecclesiastical. And it's the language of law. It's the language of legions. It's the language of empire. Latin tells you exactly what it is, how it is, what it's for. Greek is a different story, though. I have an analogy when dealing with Greek. And this is purely symbolic language, so take it as it is, not literally. But Greek is a tongue that is on life support, and it won't die because the gods and demons that possess it won't let the body die. And what do I mean by that? Greek goes all the way back to prehistory, in one form or another. Linear A, Linear B, Greek alphabet. You have Attic, Koine, Byzantine, Modern, whatever form of Greek. It literally has continuity from prehistory. Through the Bronze Age, through the Iron Age. Of course, there will be some differences. If you spoke Proto-Greek and Linear A, it would probably sound nothing like modern Greek. But a modern Greek with some training could probably read Linear A or Linear B and sort of understand what was going on. Like it's one of the... Greek is more ghost than language. It possesses you. It's hard to explain. But it's not... And of course I'm being purely symbolic here, because every language has its own character. Greek just happens to be the one that's a possessed wraith that embodies its speaker. Latin is the legions. English is the language of money. That's honestly the best way I could put it. English is the language of money. Spanish is a drunk legionary who fell off the ship. I can keep going on. Russian is a tormented Greek who spent a little too long with the Mongols. I don't really have any authority to just speak of Russian, though. I will say this about Russia. The West is incredibly foolish for trying to eradicate Russia. Because Russia is the only thing that stands between us. Russia is the only thing that stands between us and the Golden Horde with Kalashnikovs and Toyota Hiluxes. And me personally, I don't want another Genghis Khan. Or Attila the Hun. Do you? I'm literally just trying to run down the clock on this background music at this point. I might just end the stream. It really doesn't matter that much, but yeah, we'll give it till midnight. What is interesting here is that, honestly, like, to my own generation, please pick up a book. Even if it's just something. I will be a little personal here. I never really, like, I do read. Most of my reading is, like, articles and stuff. Until I started picking up other languages, because at that point when I started picking up other languages, it's like, okay, you have to read. There's no negotiating. You have to read. And my thing always was with books, it had to be a good story. It had to actually grab my attention. The best book in English that did that for me, Alamut. Alamut was a historical fiction regarding Hassan Sabah and the assassin. Really good book. It throws you right into the action from the first word. From the first word, you're following one of the main characters who's being sold into slavery and transported around. This takes place in the 1100s, different world, but grabs your attention right from the first page. A lot of books these days don't really do that. Although, I will give it to Weirdo. Or should I use his more Anglophonic pronunciation, Virgil? Underrated author. Absolutely underrated. And just in case you didn't feel that, speaking of Roman poets, if you wanted to know who the Seth MacFarlane of the late Roman Republic was, his name was Catullus. Yes, that guy. That clown. Dame basia milidein de kentu. Yes, that's the guy. Now, when it comes to my own generation, I have a split view, because on one hand, you guys suck, but on the other hand, some of you actually have a good head on your shoulders, and it really depends on who got an iPad at what age, honestly. Because those of you who got an iPad when you were little, your brain is cooked. Those whose parents, waited a little bit, you might be alright. Now, just don't get too involved with women. It's a hit or miss bag. If she's traditional, take her up on it. Actually handle yourself with grace and handle yourself with respect. But just be careful, because the cards are stacked against you. And ultimately, while the cards are stacked against you, you absolutely have to be careful. But it won't last like that forever, because the Republic will fall. And when the Republic falls, the Empire will be born. Imperium surgit. And when the Empire is born, when the Imperium is born, we will have a new golden age. Exerge senatus populusque Americanus. Exerge senatus populusque Americanus. Exerge Augustus. I did actually accidentally code switch into the Greek for that name. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, now I'm gonna get to my closing. We're in a grave time in American history, and we will all unify, but we will unify under the banner of Caesar, because Caesar will be what saves this country from itself, and ultimately, we will live a new golden age. But we all must band together. It doesn't matter if you are right, left, center, whatever you are. We band together as one unified nation, and we show the world what it means to be American. We will show the world what Rome reborn is in the 21st century. We are the children of Washington. We are the sons of the Capitol Wolf. We are the heirs to Troy. We are the heirs of Aeneas, of Romulus. Emio Augustus Vasilias ton Romaion, imasteo ioi tu Capitolio lucu, sumus vili lut bai Capitolinae. Good night.